What you're about to hear is the American nightmare, a nightmare playing out inside of our homes and on our streets. Now, on the one side, you've got families sitting on hundreds of thousands of dollars of equity in a beautiful home, a dream mortgage locked in at 3.25%. Sounds perfect, right? Except they're drowning in $150,000 of debt. And now they're being forced to sell the very home that was supposed to secure their future. Now, on the other side, America's capital itself, Washington, D.C., wiped out by looters. 37 stores raided in broad daylight, businesses shattered, entire neighborhoods left in ruin. Meanwhile, the mayor fled, just ran. President Trump has to step in. He stepped in, seizing control, federalizing police, and bringing in the National Guard. The elites are calling it authoritarian. But the people that are living through this chaos, they're calling it survival. So this is the collision of two nightmares: private debt and public lawlessness. And both are tearing the American dream into pieces. So here's the question I'm going to leave you with tonight. Should a family ever be forced to sell a home that they love just to crawl out of debt? Or is it smarter to hold on to those golden handcuffs, so to speak, that low interest rate mortgage, even as the bills pile up? Let me know what you think is the smarter thing to do, because we are about to break all of this down. Like why so many Americans are equity rich, but they're cash poor. How President Trump's crackdown in Washington, D.C. changes everything, and why debt traps at home look a whole lot more like looting in the streets. Now, trust me, guys, when you see how these two stories connect, you're never going to look at the American dream the same way again. So let's be real. This is not the American dream that our parents grew up chasing. This is the American nightmare now. Families are drowning in $150,000 of debt while looters are literally wiping out the nation's capital. And at the very same time, on the very same day, all of this is happening. Now think about that. Private collapse and public collapse happening side by side. Now on paper, America looks strong. The economy's humming, the stock market's breaking records under President Trump's leadership, and inflation is finally down. But if you walk the streets of DC, you see lawlessness, you see mobs that are ripping businesses apart, and if you walk into the kitchen of an average American home, you probably hear the same cry: we're trapped. We cannot get out from under this debt. This is the American nightmare, a personal debt trap and lawlessness on the streets at the same time. And the question is, what do you do when the dream that you built turns against you? Now, let me share an example with you. A family with what looks like the perfect setup. They got $400,000 in equity in their home. They've locked in the mortgage, the best mortgage deal of a lifetime, 3.25% interest rate, and it's fixed rate, but you can't touch the rate anymore. And on top of that, they've even got a respectable retirement account, okay? But here's the nightmare. They're $145,000 in debt, credit cards, HELOC loans, the kind of debt that really eats you alive month after month. Suddenly, that dream house doesn't feel like freedom anymore. Feels like a prison. So here's the gut punch decision. Do you sell the home that you love, the one that you've built a life in with the golden low rate mortgage, just to wipe out the debt and reset? Or do you hold on to the home, refinance at nearly 7%, and watch your payments more than double overnight? This is what we call the golden handcuffs. You're trapped in what looks like the best deal of your life, but the reality is you can't move, you can't breathe, and you can't live. So here's the tension, folks. What would you do in that situation? Would you sell, reset, and start over? Or would you just kind of fight tooth and nail to hold on to the house no matter what the cost? Drop what you think you should do in the comments down below, because this one right here, this is really dividing people right down the middle. And just when you think that this nightmare couldn't get any worse, the illusion of wealth in America, that 401k balance, that home equity, those low rates, it's about to come crashing down. And at the same time, in Washington, D.C., 37 stores are being looted, wiped out in broad daylight. Now, stick with me, guys, because I want to break down the illusion of wealth that's trapping millions of families today, and the shocking wave of looting that is proving that America's capital is collapsing in plain sight. Now, I do want to pause just for a second. I want to talk to everyone who's watching the show right now. Comment down below where you're watching this, because this isn't just a story about one family or one city or one state. This is about you. Think back to your past. Like, what's that void that you've been carrying because of some broken leadership and rigged systems? Maybe it was the job that was shipped overseas while politicians line their pockets. Maybe it was watching your savings get wiped out by Biden era inflation. Maybe it was the dream of owning a home getting crushed by endless debt. That's the past pain, and millions of Americans are feeling it too. So if you're feeling any of that past pain, let me know what you're feeling right now. Drop it in the comments down below. But I also want to talk about today. Like, what do you value the most right now? Is it keeping your home? Is it protecting your paycheck from being swallowed up by credit card bills? Or is it maybe just simply having safety and stability in Trump's America while the elites scream authoritarian? Comment down below. Comment home, paycheck, or safety. Let's see what real Americans actually value today, not what the media is pretending. And of course, we should also look into the future. We should always hope for better, right? Like, imagine Trump keeps pushing accountability and cracking down on the looters, wiping out chaos, resetting the economy. What is your vision in that America? Is it finally being debt-free? Debt-free is amazing. Is it being debt-free? Is that what you hope to achieve in the future? Is it walking down a safe street in your own neighborhood? Is it your kids growing up with the American dream being restored instead of this nightmare that we're living right now? Tell me what's your vision, guys, because this is the fight that we're all in. And those clues, they really kind of explain why Trump's message is resonating so deeply and why the elites in Washington, D.C. are panicking, because they know that ordinary Americans, they're done being ignored. Now, I do want to talk about the illusion of wealth in America, because on paper, it looks like millions of families are doing just fine. I mean, they got retirement savings, they've got equity in their homes, maybe they even drive nice fancy cars, luxury cars, maybe they even take the occasional vacation. But dig a little bit deeper and you find out that they're cash poor, they're debt heavy, and they're one crisis away from losing everything. That family that I told you about earlier, $400,000 in equity, yeah, sure, it sounds pretty impressive, right? But it doesn't pay the bills. Equity doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't stop those credit card statements from piling up, and it doesn't make the HELOC payment disappear. So what do most people do? They go for the easy solution. They refinance. They tack on another loan. They dig a deeper hole. And for a while, it feels like relief. Right up until the monthly payment shows up, suddenly that $1,100 mortgage payment that you thought you could manage balloons into $2,600 a month. Can you imagine that? Now, let me ask you something. Is that really wealth, or is that a debt? Is that a trap dressed up to look like success? Let's call a spade, right? Because when you're forced to sell your home just to stay afloat, that's not wealth, guys. That's humiliation. That's a nightmare. Now, here's where the parallel's getting chilling. While families are quietly suffocating in debt, Washington, D.C. itself is being suffocated by lawlessness. 37 stores gone. Looters storming into places like Lululemon, Best Tobacco, even the local Dollar Tree, guys. Looters are stealing from the freaking Dollar Tree. Businesses wiped out in minutes, employees injured, merchandise gone. And then what happens next? Those businesses shutter their doors, they close up and shut down, and the economy, the local community is left with nothing. Do you see the connection here, guys? Families are being crushed by debt. Neighborhoods are being crushed by crime, both suffering because the people in charge let the system spin out of control for years. And so this is why President Trump had to step in, because the mayor of DC fled the scene, leaving ordinary Americans, shop owners, workers, families to fend for themselves while mobs took over. Trump federalized the police, brought in the National Guard, and said enough is enough here. Now, here's the part that you really do not want to miss, guys. The fight between the failed local leadership and President Trump's federal authority. Who's really on the side of the American people? This is a serious question. And who's covering for the criminals? Now, of course, we need to talk. I'm going to go ahead and break down the collapse of the local leadership versus Trump's intervention and the shocking truth about paid protesters that are flooding Washington, D.C. to make it look like the people are against him, even though they're actually supporting him. Now, plans are being redrawn for next year as we speak. And if you wait until it's official, your choices will be very limited. Now, I partnered with Chapter because they help you see the map before it's published. Jamie from Texas is already saving $600 a year. Nancy is saving $600 a year as well. This is enough to keep to help Nancy stay in her home. That's a freaking miracle. In fact, that's more than a miracle. I would say that's a blessing. If you think that's a blessing, you type in blessing down below or amen. This is the moment to act, ladies and gentlemen. Give our friends a call right now at Chapter. They're providing a free service to my community. Do not let this opportunity leave you. See how much money you can save. And when you do, number one, when you call them up, tell them Ron told you to call. Tell them Ron said hello. And then come back here and let me know how much money you were able to save. I love hearing the good news from you guys. Give them a call right now if you're over 65, if your mom, if your parents are over 65, or your friends at church are over 65. Give them the phone number right now. Down below on your screen, you should see it, 909-563-8279, or visit them at askchapter.org/Ron before the map locks in. Okay, so I want to get into it. The collapse of local leadership versus Trump's federal authority. When DC was under siege, what did the mayor do? She fled. She walked away, abandoned her own city, while the people that she was supposed to protect, they were left face to face with mobs. Businesses were looted, families terrified, and the so-called leadership just vanished. That vacuum of authority is exactly why President Trump had to act. And make no mistake, this wasn't about politics. This was about protecting the American people. Trump federalized the DC police, he deployed the National Guard, and he restored something the city hadn't seen in years: real law and order. And of course, the media howled, the elites screamed, authoritarian. But ask the workers whose shops were just ransacked, and now they have no jobs. They lost their jobs. The business is gone. Ask the families who are living in the neighborhoods that are plagued by carjackings. Now, to them, Trump's crackdown isn't tyranny. It's compassion. It's protection. It's the difference between living in fear and living with hope. But here's where the nightmare twists even further. Almost overnight, protests erupted in DC. Crowds of angry voices, signs waving, chants echoing. The headline said, "The people reject Trump's takeover." But when you peel back the curtain, you actually find something rather shocking. Fox News uncovered a surge in paid protester requests, up 400% since Trump stepped in. The New York Post reported that George Soros and other mega donors pumped over $20 million into these groups. Translation: a lot of these angry crowds were not citizens rising up. They were hired hands. They were just props, actors like from Hollywood, for example. So here's the real tension. Are these demonstrations genuine outrage, or are they manufactured chaos meant to shield criminals and discredit Trump? Now, I want you to think about that seriously, because if you're living in Washington, D.C. right now, you already know the truth. Let me know where you're watching from, guys. You see the crime, you know it's not safe, and if a politician or protester tells you otherwise, ask yourself, are they defending your family, or are they defending the people looting your neighborhood? And so here's where it gets even darker, because the connection between families trapped in debt and cities trapped in lawlessness, it runs deeper than you think. Now, I want to break down exactly how debt and looting are actually the same American nightmare that's fueled by the same reckless leadership, and what Trump's doing to put accountability back on the table. Now, here is the part that nobody wants to admit. Debt and looting are the same American nightmare. Think about it. Families drowning in $150,000 of debt on the surface, they look stable, maybe even successful. But underneath, bills are piling up, interest is eating away, the walls are closing in. That's a private nightmare. Now look at DC. Businesses wiped out overnight, 37 stores looted, employees injured, neighborhoods left in chaos. That's the public nightmare. Now, both come from the same place. Years of reckless leadership, years of ignoring reality, years of refusing to enforce discipline. And both leave ordinary Americans, not the elites, not the donors, not the politicians, paying the price. So here's the difference. First of all, is any of that sounding fair to anyone? Because it doesn't sound fair to me. So under President Trump, accountability is back on the table. So whether it's a crackdown on street crime in DC or a wake-up call to families to stop living beyond their means, Trump's message is the same. No more free rides. And for millions of law-abiding Americans, that's exactly what they've been waiting to hear. Now, if you think that's harsh, let's go ahead and pull back the curtain even further, because the truth is, home ownership itself has become part of the trap. Most people don't even realize it. Most Americans, they think once you bought a house, you've made it. You've arrived. But the numbers tell a completely different story. Beyond the mortgage, the average homeowner is shelling out $21,000 a year in hidden costs, insurance, maintenance, utilities. That's on top of property taxes, repairs, and everything else that goes wrong. So when you hear about a family sitting on $400,000 in equity, but still feeling broke, this is why. They're house rich, but cash poor. And it forces you to ask, is homeownership today really the American dream? Or is it just another money pit? Now, here's the tension for you guys. If you were that family that we're talking about with a dream mortgage of 3.25%, but $145,000 in debt hanging over your head, would you keep the house and risk sinking deeper? Or would you sell, reset, and face the humiliation? Now, don't answer yet, because next we're going to go ahead and put those forced choices side by side, and we're going to compare them. The choices that families face in their own homes and the choices entire cities face in Trump's America. And once you see them together, you're going to realize that this nightmare isn't just personal or political, it's national. So here's where it all comes together. Forced choices in a broken America. Now, for families, the choice is brutal. Do you sell your home, reset, and start over debt-free? Even if it means letting go of the house that you love and the golden 3.25% mortgage that everyone dreams of? Or do you hold on, refinance, and risk watching your monthly payment explode, knowing you might not even qualify, knowing it could bury you even deeper? Okay. Now, for residents in Washington, D.C., the choice is just as sharp. Do you stand with President Trump's crackdown, the police, the National Guard, the restoration of law and order? Or do you side with the mobs, the paid protesters, the chaos that has destroyed 37 businesses and left ordinary Americans terrified in their own neighborhoods? And for the nation itself, the choice is the clearest of all: discipline or collapse. Do we continue down the path of debt traps, lawlessness, and excuses? Or do we face the hard truth, make the tough calls, and finally restore accountability? This is the American nightmare. $150,000 of debt, trapping families while looters are wiping out the Capitol. It's not abstract. This is not a headline. It's happening right now, okay? August 2025. So here's the good news. We have a president who isn't running from the fire. President Donald J. Trump stepping in, taking heat from the elites, and standing shoulder to shoulder with ordinary Americans who are sick of living in fear. That's what real leadership looks like: strategic, patriotic, and compassionate. So I'm gonna leave you with this question, guys. If it were you, okay, would you sell your home to escape the debt trap? Or would you cling to those golden handcuffs while America burns around you? And while you're thinking about that, YouTube already knows the video that you need to see next. It's popping up on your screen right here. Click that video, because if you think tonight's breakdown was intense, wait till you see what's waiting for you in that one.